Once upon a time, in the Lincolnshire village of Swartham, there lived a pedlar called John Chapman. And John Chapman was so poor that he lived in a cottage with holes in the roof that let the rain in. He was so poor that he lived in a cottage with windows with no glass that let the wind through. And in his pockets he didn't have a single coin. But on warm summer evenings, John Chapman loved to snooze under an old apple tree at the bottom of his garden that had been there for hundreds of years. And whilst he snoozed, he would dream that if he travelled to London Bridge, he would find his fortune. As the weeks progressed, these dreams became really vivid, and one day John decided to act on his dream. He gathered his meagre possessions, put them in his rucksack, slung it over his shoulder, and started the long walk to London. He walked day and night. He walked night and day. And on the third day, he arrived in London and made his way to London Bridge. John stood on London Bridge and nothing much happened. On the first day, the wind got up and it rained a bit, and John Chapman's feet got cold. He stamped them to keep them warm. On the second day, John Chapman stood on London Bridge, and nothing much happened. He didn't have any coins in his pocket, and his stomach was empty, and it growled angrily at him. Thought John. On the third day, John Chapman stood on London Bridge and looked about. His feet were still cold, and his stomach was still empty. And at that point, a policeman came and spoke to him. "Aye, aye," said the policeman. "See you're back again for a third day. What brings you to London then? You're obviously not from round here." "Ah," said John. It's a long story, but basically I had a dream that I should make my way to London Bridge and I'd find my fortune." The policeman laughed. "Dreams," he said, "dreams. They're funny old things." "I'll tell you," said the policeman. "I had a dream last night that here on London Bridge I was going to meet somebody from, don't help me, Swartham. I mean, what a funny name for a village. And this bloke was going to be called, no, don't help me, John Chapman. And this bloke, John Chapman from Swartham, his fortune's sitting under an old apple tree at the bottom of his garden." Dreams, aren't they funny? And the policeman wandered off. Well, John was stunned. He gathered his meagre possessions, popped them in his rucksack, slung it on his back, and started the long walk home. John walked day and night and day, and on the third day John arrived back to his lovely cottage in Swartham. It had holes in the roof, it had no panes of glass in the windows, but it was home. John found a spade and went down the bottom of the garden to the old apple tree that had stood there for hundreds of years and started to dig. Lo and behold, as he dug, he came across an old pot, and in the pot were many gold coins. They were there all along. And now John Chapman doesn't have holes in the roof of his cottage that let the rain in. And he has glass in the windows of his cottage to keep the wind out, and he has some coins in his pockets to keep him fed. But on summer evenings, John loves to go and snooze under his old apple tree that's been there for hundreds of years. And as he snoozes and snoozes, he contemplates that sometimes you travel a long way to find that your true gold is at home. Thought for the day. Have a great weekend. Bye.